Well, hello again everyone, and welcome to another Vanners collaboration video. And this month's subject is our inspiring DIY motorhome modifications. Now, don't forget to watch all the other videos in the collaboration group. I'll put a link to the playlist in the description below, and there'll also be a link on the end screen of this video. Now, of course, we've not made any modifications at all to our new van yet. We're quite happy with it the way it is for the moment, but we made absolutely loads of modifications on our previous van, the old 1990 Citroen C25. Now, I don't know if they're inspiring or not, whether you'll want to rush off and do similar things yourself after watching the video, but let's take you through what I think are the top 5 DIY modifications that we did to our previous van. Now, number 1 has to be changing the old LPG heater to a nice diesel heater. Now, this initially didn't go that well, and the first one I fitted had some problems with combustion. It was a very cheap version from China, and yeah, it really wasn't up to the job. I think the problem was with the controller on it. So I did upgrade it to a slightly more expensive version, and that worked fantastically well. I had to modify the cabinetry a little bit to accommodate the new diesel heater, but that was relatively easy, and yeah, that was probably the best mod that we did to the old van. Now, the second one really has to be the awning rail that I fitted on the back of the old van. Now, the old Orderquest 270 has a rear door, and the wind-out awning was on the side. So we could have put a driveway awning on the strip on the wind-out awning, but of course it wouldn't have ended up by the door that you go in and out. So I had to work out a way of putting a strip on the back of the van. And of course we had our Outdoor Revolution air awning, and that worked really well on the back of the van and was a great addition really when you went camping. There weren't that much room in the old van, and it was great to have that extra space for a bit of an extra living space. Maybe put your wet clothes and boots there if you'd had a bit of a wet day out. And we also used it sometimes to keep the e-bikes in. So fitting that rear awning rail and being able to mount the awning where you come out the van, where the door was really a big improvement for the way we used the van. Number 3 really has to be the renovation really that we did to the shower cubicle, the washroom area in the old van. When we bought the van, it just had the bench toilet in it. The shower had all been stripped out. The sink was a bit of a mess. It was a sort of a cobbled together half sink arrangement that was supposed to have a pedestal on it, I believe, but the pedestal was missing and all the pipes hung down. It's a bit of a mess, and we lived with a van like that for a while. We only stayed on sites really where there was a toilet and washroom. But with the aftermath of COVID, and you remember those restrictions where sometimes the facilities were closed, so we decided that we had to renovate the shower and refit the shower. So I lined out the whole shower cubicle and washroom area. It was like a wet room kind of arrangement in such a small van, with some stuff called Saniclad. It was 1.5mm thick PVC cladding, and that made the whole area waterproof so that we weren't going to introduce damp into the rest of the van. And I made up a new sink unit using a dog bowl, which was much smaller than the previous arrangement, which gave you room really to move around and have a shower. So that really was a big improvement and gave us more flexibility in where we could camp and how we could use the van. We have fitted a shower in the van. Being self-contained is our master plan. We can still keep on living our camping dream, making sure we're safe from the COVID-19. working on the camper into the night, measuring and cutting, not always getting it right. The government says to go back to camping for our leisure. Having our own shower is a safety measure. A field with a tap and a drain is all we really need, and a pleasant stay is guaranteed. Well, I've fitted a shower in the van. Being self-contained is our master plan. We can still keep on living our camping dream, making sure we're safe from the COVID-19. In a queue at the toilet block with your bog roll in your pocket. But when you get a cubicle, there's a log jam and you've got to unblock it. Back outside to get a stick to poke it down. And someone grabs your place. What a clown. This is something we no longer need to tolerate. Having facilities in the van is really great. We've fitted a shower in the van. Being self-contained is our master plan. We can still keep on living our camping dream, making sure we're safe from the COVID-19. Been on the beach and our bits are sandy. A lovely new shower will come in handy. Or we're sweaty and hot from a day on the hill. Freshen up in the van, lay back and chill. In luxury we can get wet and soapy, even if other areas are still a bit ropey. Took me a while to refine all the elements of my design. A textured rubber floor so it doesn't get slippy when you're getting ready for a romantic meal at the chippy. Though there's still not really room for two, so you might have to wait if someone's having a poo. Well, I've fitted a shower in the van. Being self-contained is our master plan. We can still keep on living our camping dream, making sure we're safe from the COVID-19. Making more space was a consideration, so I used a dog bowl for the basin. The walls are all lined with white plastic, with joints sealed up with silicone mastic. The thermostat valve, so it's not too hot, is a feature that I like a lot. Fitted a shower in the van. Being self-contained is our master plan. We can still keep on living our camping dream, making sure we're safe from the COVID-19. Number 4, I think, is the custom paintwork that I did on the bonnet of the old van. Now the bonnet was in a little bit of a state, a bit rusty underneath and a bit flaking away in parts, so it needed renovation. And I welded in new patches where the metal had completely gone, cleaned it all up and resprayed it in the correct paint code colour for that white van. But of course that's a bit dull and boring and I didn't really want to leave it at that. And we had the cow pattern seat covers in the van because the seats were a bit tatty underneath. So I used the airbrush and I added a bit of a cow head design kind of thing. It's actually copied from a Swiss milk advert, I believe. So yeah, that was the custom cow paintwork on the bonnet of the van, and that stood up really well. I mean, that was done several years ago and it was still absolutely fresh when we sold the van, and a good custom paint job is way better than any sort of vinyl stick-on graphics or anything like that in terms of durability. So yeah, I was very pleased with that, and yeah, it was something about the van that certainly I loved, and a few people also said that they quite liked. I'm not sure Nikki was a massive fan of it, but she did get used to it. Now last of all, number 5 would be the extra storage that I added above the sort of counter top area where the gas locker was underneath and the heater was underneath. That's quite a big area with no shelving in it. I think probably you were supposed to perhaps have a TV there or something. It was underneath the cocktail cabinet. So we had an extra shelf there, which is very useful. We kept guidebooks and such like, and pens and envelopes and other bits and pieces there. And it was just a useful bit of extra storage, which is always handy, I think, in any van, especially a small van. So there you go, they are our top DIY modifications. Let us know in the comments if you've done any DIY modifications to your van and how it all worked out. Don't forget to watch the other videos in the collaboration group, and we'll see you again soon in another video.